Time for big issue. Today we are going to talk a lot about the opposition New Patriotic Party, an all-important election that is taking place tomorrow. The party is deciding who will be its flag bearer. 5 individuals are seeking the mandate of delegates. Let's put up those 5 individuals on the screen just right about now. In case you are a delegate, you don't know who to vote for at this point in time. The 5 individuals coming up on your screen. You just have to, you still have some time to decide, but I'm told that you delegates, you know who you are voting for. And as Sir John used to tell us that we should fear delegates. A lot of the time, the delegates would have taken a decision on who to vote for already, but you'll still be receiving all sorts of things from the politicians as you prepare. So first, Kennedy Ohene Ejapon, a former member of parliament. He was in parliament for a very long time. We know him as a very tough-talking legislator. There are those who say that he speaks the truth, and we've heard some also disagree. In fact, during the course of the campaign, we heard from Engineer Kwabena Ejapon make the point that he just talks and he's been allowed to get away with things, and that it's about time that someone puts him in check and deals with that once and for all. There's also Dr. Brian Echiampong, former Minister for Agriculture, was also at the National Security, the Minister of State and National Security at a point in time. He's also a member of Parliament as well. Then there's Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, former Vice President, a former flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party. And he is the individual that a lot of people have tipped as they're likely to emerge victorious. So this were NPP primaries. There are different questions that you can frame different. So you can ask the question of who leads the NPP, who is the party likely to elect, and the question again becomes, would that individual be capable of winning the 2028 elections for the NPP? Is another question that people ask as well. But I mean, aside from Dr. Bawumia, there is Dr. Yao Osei-Duchum as well. Dr. Yao Osei-Duchum is a former education minister. He was a deputy education minister first. He became substantive education minister. Has been working in the education space, particularly in the US before he came down here in Ghana. Kwabena Ejapon, a very familiar name in local politics. Those of you who have watched television for so long, you remember him in sports broadcasting actually, before eventually he got into the political aspect of his life. Press secretary under former President John Ajekum Kufuor, subsequently became, in fact, he was part of those individuals, the 17, those who contested in 2008, got less than 1%. Then he came back to contest as General Secretary of the NPP. He won, became General Secretary. He was suspended, and I mean, eventually he was back into the fold of the party, campaigned for Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo in 2020 to secure his final term as well, and he is contesting for the 3rd time, because prior to the 2024 elections, the primaries that took place, he participated in that as well. Again, less than 1%. And so a lot of you, the message that you were sending, you were all mentioning that Kwabena Ejapon ideally fits the bill for you, but you know that he's not going to win. All these are some of the things that you've been talking about. And so we are going to look at all these candidates and see who stands the chance of winning. Let me introduce you to my guest already seated in the studio. Kabila is right next to me. Dr. James Kwabena Bomfe Jr. Kabila is a lecturer. He's also with Census as well. He's a lecturer at UPSA. Doc shows up and vanishes and shows up and vanishes. Doc Akwaba.
Yeah.
We want to be seeing you more. Are we getting you to commit to us seeing you more?
Well, that will come with a number of factors. So let's talk about that off air.
We'll do that. I'm sure Shadrach has taken notes of that. Ebo Bachman is a Deputy Communications Director for the United Party as well. He supports dwarfs, Abontia dwarfs, and
IDP.
Yes, dwarfs and also Barcelona as well.
The best team in Ghana. Ebusia dwarfs.
Always good to see Ebo as well. Thank you for joining us. I want us to start off the discussion by focusing on one man, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, for good reasons. A lot of you say that he's going to be the one to win, but the prophets will disagree with you. Someone has tagged the race as a prophecy versus a polls. Okay, that's the tag that I saw on social media. But a lot of the polls seem to suggest that Dr. Bawumia is likely to win. So I want us to pay attention and focus on Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. He spoke yesterday. His campaign team actually put out this video clip, and he makes a very interesting point about what he says is the history of the NPP candidates and their performance in subsequent elections. Simply put, repeat candidates tend to win eventually. That's what he's asking the delegates to do for him. Watch this.
Consistency matters in our politics. There is no, in the history of the NPP, no presidential candidate who has been brought for the first time has ever won a presidential election. You know, you look at Edu Boahim, he did not win first time. President Kufuor, he did not win first time. President Akufo-Addo, he did not win first time. And Dr. Bawumia did not win first time. But every presidential candidate who has been repeated in our presidential politics in the NPP, every presidential candidate who has been repeated has won an election for the NPP. And so Kufuor was repeated, he brought us power. Nana Akufo-Addo was repeated, he brought us power. So I'm telling the delegates to repeat Dr. Bawumia so that by the grace of God, I will bring us power in 2028.
That's Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia there, former vice president and former flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, who is seeking to be the party's flag bearer once again. Let me start off with Ebo in studio with me. Ebo, I mean, those are facts that one cannot dispute. I mean, he makes the point about what the history shows. It's a party you are familiar with. Once the repeated candidates went on to win. On the flip side, to someone who would also argue that, I mean, Professor Dubois was not repeated, and so maybe that should be his path. He should not be, as in Dr. Bawumia also should not be repeated, such that they can opt for another person like they did in the case of Kufuor, and he subsequently went on to win. What do you make of this message he's putting out there to the delegates at this point?
Yeah, let me say good morning to the Omahinin of Cape Coast, Nana Kwesi, and also the mayor of Cape Coast, Justice Sata. And also let me greet a friend of mine, Jeshon. Jeshon is the one in charge of the bypass. That is where I sometimes go and sit. You know the bypass. I'll take you there this evening, possibly, on Gimpa Hachu Road. So this evening, bro, let's meet there.
I'm not available.
So Jeshon, good morning. You see, I've heard that argument, and I don't know why people make that argument. Because, you see, we are talking about the issue of market and product. NPP is going to produce, if you like, a candidate to sell to Ghanaians. In other words, you are producing for a market. So whether consistency will play a role as to whether you'll be able to sell, it depends on the nature of the market. That is why I normally give the example that you can repeat pork 1,000 times in the Zongo market. Nobody will buy. So it's not the repetition that determines the marketability of the product, but the nature of the market in which you are selling the product. So I personally would say maybe Kufuor was a cow meat or goat meat. So repeating him, you can sell it eventually. But if you happen to have a pork, million times, nobody will buy.
What are the factors available that makes you think that he's not marketable?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, that the focus should be on the nature of the market. Because if you are going to sell, in economics you say it's the market that determines what to produce. It's not the producer who determines what to produce. It's the market.
Yeah, but I mean,
So if I were a delegate and I really want my party to perform in the next election, even if the party is not going to win, to show some numbers, what I would do is to juxtapose the candidate with the market we are going to sell. And if you look at Ghana political market, it has peculiar characteristics. Peculiar characteristics, and people don't want it to be said, but the truth has to be said. If I'm not the one to advise NPP, because I really have no interest in NPP performing in the next elections. I really don't have interest. But because you brought up the topic and you are doing analysis about it, you see, this is the nature of the political market. And even before I talk about the political market, the nature of the political market, there are factors that determine every election. So in every election, we have economic voters, we have religious voters, we have ethnic voters, we have personality voters, and we have party voters in every election. So there are people who vote on the basis of the state of the economy. So they will see whether the person coming will be able to perform or outperform the one managing the economy currently. That is one. What am I going to get if I should vote? I'm unemployed. Would they be able to manage the economy in such a way that I will be able to get a job to do? So you have economic voter. We have religious voters. There are people, they will vote for you because either they belong to the same religion or they go to church with you. They are also there in the market. Then ethnic factor. People who also vote on the basis of ethnicity. That is why a political party can have 5 polling station executives at a polling station. Yet the party will get 0. Normally it's because of ethnic factor. And we have the issue of personality factor. They will see whether in terms of your character, credibility, competence, whether you can be trusted.
And you are saying that Bawumia falls short on all these indicators. That's the point.
And the last one is the party factor or the party voters. They will vote because they belong to that party. Whether the person can perform or not perform, they will vote. And if I'm a delegate, I will look at all these 5 possibilities and say which candidate will be able to sold easily to the economic voter, to the religious voter, to the ethnic voter, to the personality voter, and the party voter. So if I do my analysis and say, no, this candidate, yes, maybe he's a good candidate, but it could be a bad product for the market. So on the basis of that, I'm not the one to tell who the delegate to vote for. I'm just doing this political market analysis for people to know. So if you come to the political market itself, it has peculiar characteristics.
I mean, you've already concluded earlier on that Dr. Bawumia is not a good product. You've already said that. You've said that if you saw the same thing
No, I'm just countering the argument made that consistency and repetition.
So let me ask you directly, do you think he deserves to be repeated as he is making the point?
You see, let me say this. You see, my position has been very consistent, and I will not change it today. And those who listen to me, I published an article 1st January 2021. And I want to repeat it here because I've said it here. The title of the article was, Why Would the NPP Want to Commit Political Suicide? I wrote the article when, immediately after the election, people started talking about Dr. Bawumia to be the leader of the party. And I made an argument that, yes, he may be a fine person, but if you juxtapose him with the market, he will be a very bad candidate. And probably I was justified by the results that happened in the last election. And I'm saying that if you're not strong on the economy, you need to be strong. You don't have to be weak on a religious factor or ethnic factor or personality factor. So at any point, you should be able to know where do I, do the permutation to have a candidate. At least if there are 5, I should be strong in 3 of them so that I can balance the situation. So it's up to them to decide who to vote for. But I'm saying that because you brought it up, I'm doing my fair, objective political market analysis. And if you're an objective person and you are listening to me, you will know that I'm being very honest.
Just a direct question. If you were in the NPP and you were to vote, you're participating tomorrow, would you vote for Dr. Bawumia?
No, let me tell you this. If I'm in NPP and I'm to vote, let me tell you, this NPP, this election actually is not about who is going to be chosen to lead the party to victory in 2028. It's about who controls the soul of the party and the direction of the party beyond Saturday. Beyond Saturday, that is the bone of contention. Because they know, deep down within their hearts, they know 2028 is almost an impossible mission. But who controls the party thereafter is the critical issue. And I'm saying that if they really want to have a candidate who can between 30 to 40% for them, I would have gone for Kobine Japan.
Okay.
Because I believe that he is someone who can put the party together. Because if you look at the level of acrimony and antagonism between Baumia supporters and Kobine Japan supporters, I mean, it's said that if any one of them wins, from where I sit and from what I know in politics, and from what happened previously in NPP, it's going to be difficult for the party to be the same.
Okay. So Ebo says you vote for Kwabena Japan if
But unfortunately, Kobina in the party is not much respected.
I mean, we'll come
in the
to
party. It's very painful.
We'll come to Kwabena Japan because the critics will point you to his tenure as General Secretary. Let me come to Doc right here. I mean, Dr. Bawumia says that repetition is good, consistency is good. Fair message, you'd say?
Well, that is his trump card. That works to him. It favors him. You see, the important thing to make is that in political analysis and trend observations, one thing we need to understand is that history matters. History serves as a guide to the present and helps you secure the future. In that same vein, it tells us that any act in the present has embedded or pregnant within it history and a future, so that one must always be guided by how conduct is about. You know, the reason why it is important not to use the word never in politics is that it is the art of the possibles. You know, just to dwell on something my brother said, it is possible to sell pork in a Muslim-dominated community depending on how you market it. The market experts will tell you. But I think that even that scenario is wrong in this kind of conversation. Why am I saying it is wrong? You know, selling a material product is different from selling an inanimate human product. They are different. So the analogies, if you stricto sensu, apply them, you would get things wrong. And I'll give you a typical example. Just the factors that my brother relied on. I can give you some other voters. For example, the media-oriented voter, the cultural-focused voter. I've added two to the 5 he listed. Did he consider them? Maybe yes, maybe no. But I'm just showing you that you could be wrong in your analysis. And when you are wrong in your analysis and your assumptions, your conclusion, therefore, would be wrong. In political, maneuvering, the little, and we all have politics to our history. He is still in the partisan fray. I am off it. I can tell you that in a political party system, there is no party throughout the history of our country where any one person single-handedly would say that victory comes on their record. Not even the great Osadefo. Not even the great Osadefo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. He was in jail. Bedema and Co. organized. And when we talk about organization, it goes beyond one person. So in political activity, why history matters is that it tends to become part of your brand. And that is why political research is important. Identity, social identity. If we were to go strictly according to certain rebuttals my brother made, none of the presidents we have had would be elected. I'm telling you. Because in various scenarios, each of them could also fit that commodity analysis of pork in a Muslim market. If you pick any of them, take Mr. Rawlings, take President Kufuor, take President Mills, take President Mahama, take President Akufo-Addo, and take President Mahama again. you can do that analysis if you want to do it that way. But what is important is the kind of organizational machine that is put in place. So my view is that, leaning from something he said, it is not so much who they elect on tomorrow, but how, as a political machine, they are able to organize the flag, who the bearer they are picking tomorrow will bear into the next phase. And I mean, I disagree with him entirely that the NPP is out of the 2028 picture. In politics, the only thing that a politician cannot do is to turn a woman into a man or a man into a woman. Anything is possible. The NPP, you see, you have been there. Me, I've watched from behind. It has a very strong history that it can bounce back big time, depending on what it does. If it is able to overcome the triggers of disunity and harmonize its base. And to just make this point about the need for unity beyond even the NPP for Ghana. You know that Usain Bolt, the man with the record in sprint for 100 meters at 9.58, his best 100-meter run was not when he ran alone. It was when he ran in 2012 in London, together with 3 others in the 4x100, where they made the record of 36.84. And if you split it to the 4 of them, each will get 9.21, a record far better than the 9.58 that he ran. What am I saying? Helen Keller says that, you know, alone you can do so little, but together you can do so much. So if they seek to go on the line of unity, the important thing is not so much who they elect tomorrow, but how they can negotiate their idiosyncrasies that gives them capital or mileage as individuals. What is Dr. Bawumia bringing? What is Dr. Duchum bringing? What is Dr. Brian Achampong bringing? What is Engineer Kwabena Japan bringing? What is Kennedy Japan bringing? Because in all of them, as Martin Luther King Jr. will say, that there is something good in each of them. And there will be something bad in each of them also. So how do they mediate and negotiate their differences to bring out the best in them? At the end of the day, it is about the messaging. It's about the messenger. It is also about the recipient or the audience. So you mind the audience as he is putting out, which is a good point to make. But how can you, through your own activities, engineer to sway the thinking of the market to be favorable to you? There's a product that goes on the market today that is not sold. Because perhaps the market did not understand the product, in this case, the animate product, human being or candidate that you put out. But repackaged and reorganized, that same product can win and win for you the minds of the people because you have prepared the minds to accept or look things your way. So for me, it is not so much who they elect tomorrow, but how they organize themselves beyond. All the bets, I can say this, that the headlines are showing that Dr. Bawumia is going to be their candidate. It is possible that the delegates may choose otherwise.
Doc, the point you make about, it's not about who they will elect. Those who will disagree with you will say that when you look at our electoral history, at least in the current republic, what we see is that the two political parties, they appear to have a certain base that in the last 3 election cycles, we see that it puts them around the 40% margin. And so the argument will be that whoever is elected is expected to be within that margin. And that if you can go a step further, it may have to come from the quality of that candidate. You agree with that?
Yes. And that's why I use the word, I say it is not so much.
Okay.
Now, Akable, in Ghana now we have 276 constituencies. And there is an additional constituency, which is a national constituency, which makes it 277. Now, when you go into the contest, general elections, it is presidential and parliamentary. The presidential candidate alone does not win all the votes in all the constituencies by his or her own merit. It is also about the activity that is undertaken by the parliamentary aspirants. And the record shows us that so far in Ghana, most presidential products who have won have also had their party-sponsored parliamentary aspirants win the majority side. The only time we were going to have a departure was in the year 2008.
The first round.
When, yes, if there was a vote gap of about 5,000 or 6,000 or something within 20,000. If President Akufo-Addo, that time candidate Akufo-Addo, had slipped and won, he was going to win presidential with his party's side having minority. That was the only time we were going to have that. But you see, when we overdwell on presidential candidates alone, we miss the to winning elections. If it's an independent candidate, but I'm saying that alone is not enough. If you are operating on a party or bearing the flag of a system, the system whose flag the person is bearing is more also, I mean, critical.
You wanted to make some quick points.
I don't think he rebutted any of the points that I made.
I didn't. That wasn't my intention.
Except that
I argued them my way.
Except to say that, I mean, to say that pork can be sold in a Zongo market, and trying to justify it with all kind of explanation. If you really are serious, if you are serious and you want to make sales, and you have pork to sell, and you think the place to go and sell it to try as much as possible to convince people to buy is the best way to go, that one is up to the person who is selling. But I believe that if really they are serious about having some significant numbers in the next elections, I still repeat my position that in a 2020 election, given NPP's own track record, given the kind of, even the situation they have, the internal problem they have in the party, I have said the party is going into the next election with quadruple whammy, whether they like it or not. Quadruple whammy is what is following them to the next election. Their record in terms of economic management, their record in terms of corruption, their record in terms of their own internal party problems, and also the fact that this government so far has done so well, and I think Ghanaians they've been able to win the hearts of Ghanaians. So if you want to get them out, you will need to come with superior alternative or policy alternatives. And I don't see NPP in its current form having that superior alternative policies and all that. So yes, I'm still saying that my political market analysis holds, and those who believe in marketing and economics would always agree with me.
Okay. So, I mean, so far we've been analyzing Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. The message that he put out to delegates yesterday, he was making a point that the candidates who have been repeated by the New Patriotic Party, they all went on to become presidents, and he believes that that consistency is important, and so he should also be given that consistency. Ataisa is MP for Sanyerugu, is joined us in the studio. Good morning, Honorable. Thank you for joining us this morning. We'll start off with Bawumia still. You agree from the NDC angle that, I mean, obviously the NDC, you don't want a strong candidate. In fact, there's a suggestion that the NDC wishes Kennedy Japan wins because you believe that Bawumia will be a tougher candidate for whoever is elected. Don't tell me that. We are, as a caveat, we are holding all other factors constant. We don't want to hear anyone who comes will beat him. Let's hold that analysis constant for today. Yes.
Why must it be heard?
Because that's always the response.
All right, good morning to you and to my colleagues. And also let me extend good morning to our viewers today. Ordinarily, I wouldn't be much interested in what happens in the NPP, but as a democratic society that tries to promote multi-party democracy, it is important that we wish the NPP a healthy contest. And tomorrow is a big day for the NPP. My only prayer is that it comes incident-free so that we will have a very solid opposition that will put us in check as to how good governance should go. Having said that, I think that tomorrow NPP delegates will be answering a big question, whether they are electing a flag bearer or they are electing a president. the 211,000, is it statistically significant to represent the aspirations and the wishes of the general public? That is a very big question they must answer. Now, the question you ask is, are we afraid of Dr. Bawumia? You see, this is somebody who doesn't need marketing again, in the sense that he has been flag bearer running mate to Akufo-Addo for 8 years and became vice president for 8 years, 16 years touring this country. So if I hear arguments that he is the most prepared for what again at this time? You have been touring this country for the last 16 good years. People know you. And the verdict has been cast on your leadership. So if it is like introducing a new product, even product life cycle, there is saturation stages. What new thing are Ghanaians coming to now know about Dr. Bawumia?
But that shouldn't be coming from the NDC. I mean,
I will demonstrate the difference. I will demonstrate the difference.
Was also around for so long.
I will demonstrate the difference.
He went and,
yes.
I mean, Ghanaians gave him a massive, in fact, he lost massively. Ghanaians gave him a massive
The circumstances
victory.
are always different. No two scenarios are the same. And we can demonstrate that here. For example, if you look at 2000, a vice president was presented on behalf of the NDC. Having experienced PND's NDC rule for 19 years, there was general fatigue against the NDC at that time. Despite that, the vice president took the election on the first round, to round off. President Mills. Despite the general disparaging remarks and comment and tiredness from Ghanaians towards the NDC, the vice president that time, who had just become vice president in 4 years, took the election into a runoff. That was 2000 election. In fact, it took the likes of Kabila and the rest to support in an alliance to help President Akufo-Addo, President Kufuor that time, win the election for 2000 elections.
Proudly worked for him to win.
Proudly, yes. Now, if you look at that journey, it does not necessarily suggest any first-time attempt by a presidential candidate, you must perform abysmal. It doesn't, we shouldn't even encourage that. In 2008, against establishment candidate Alan Charmanti, the venerable Akufo-Addo won the internal primaries, even though he did not secure the 50% plus one. I remember that time, the blessed memory of Honorable Aliu Muhammad, His Excellency. He was the sitting vice president. There were 17 candidates in Lagos, 207. Voted in that chaotic primaries. People thought NPP would break. Yet, President Akufo-Addo, then candidate Akufo-Addo, pushed the election into a runoff. Not necessarily a runoff. In fact, there was a runoff because President Akufo-Addo had 49.17% against Prof. Mills. We went into a runoff, came back to, and the final was cemented at time. That time, President Akufo-Addo was just a foreign affairs minister and attorney general. He had just been 2 cabinet portfolios and an MP. He wasn't a vice president. He took that same election into a runoff, leading the first round of voting. He led it. The circumstances in this case are different. You claim you implemented 33 ideas. Every candidate should do SWOT analysis. What are Dr. Bawumia's strengths now? The strength that he has been acknowledged and credited was on economy. And to be honest with you, the verdict on his management of the economy as the chair of the economic management team is out. And you see, these days, they ruled 8 years, NDC also ruled 8 years up to 2016. The reason why President Mahama got the opportunity once again was because the verdict of the NPP for the last 8 years was known. And if you had compared the verdict given by Ghanaians from 2009 to 2016, as against 2017 to 2024, the verdict was clear and resounding. And that is the reason why they said the devil you know is better than the angel you don't know. Because at that time, in 2016, the scorecard of the NDC was known to Ghanaians, and it was dissatisfactory to them. That was the basis why they brought the NPP. So if we bring you for 8 years and you are not able to perform better than those we rejected 8 years ago, then we better do with those government again. That was what brought President Mahama back to the presidency. So tomorrow, the critical question I'm always saying is that, what question are we answering in the minds of the NPP delegates? Are we just electing a flag bearer? 2028 election dynamics and issues have not even been identified as we speak. It might not be on economy, even it can change.
Good.
So I would have wished you reorganize the party at the base level. And Doc is here. Doc says it is not much about whether top or down. But we have run elections at the constituency levels. I can tell you with authority that it is not presidential candidates and regional executives that run party. Parties are built, strengthened, and they implement the campaign machinery of the political parties. It's at the branch level. You often see that until maybe Dr. Baumia, who is an outlier in this case, presidential candidates mostly perform better than parliamentary candidates in constituencies, not because the presidential candidate has visited every polling station. There are demographic figures within your constituency that can affect you but will not affect the presidential candidate. Some branch executive constituents have given them problems to send to their leaders. If it doesn't go through, they will feel like it is the branches or the police station executive that didn't push
they'll
out.
punish you.
So most of those times, refer to the concept of voting with you are being punished based on the actions of somebody. So the over 200,000 delegates currently that will vote tomorrow, majority of them were those who decided for the party in 2023, and it brought a resultant effect, which is 41%, 1.7 million difference. This same crop of people are yet again going to decide on the future of the NPP. A decorated monkey is still a monkey. You can't keep doing something the same way and expect different results. And let me be honest, I dare say, this voting arrangement that we saw was because they wanted the same establishment candidate to go through.
You're right.
In my constituency, for example, people have been threatened that if they do not toe a particular line, they will be removed after the flag bearership contest. That is not how we build democracy.
Okay.
So, yes, I wish them incident-free election. But the basic questions I'm saying is that the same group of people in 5 northern regions, which is the back or the trump card of the Baume's camp, in 2016, it was northern. 2020, southern, northern. 2024, northern. Today, it means that Dr. Baumia represents the North. Out of 57 constituencies, 57, the man only won 8. 8. And in fact, 57 MPs, NPP has only 10. So if those same 10 MPs come and tell you to vote for Dr. Baumia it is because they are looking at being ministers, but the grassroots.
Okay.
So, yes, the polls favor Dr. Baumia, obviously. And it's expected, like I already said, it's the same class of people that voted for him in 2023.
So
they are those going to do.
I want to ask you 2 direct questions, and I'll come to Doc in a minute. Maybe I saw him make some notes. There's some issues he wants to deal with. 2 direct questions. The first one is that, as a member of the NDC, which candidate of the NPP do you think, if he wins, the NDC can easily beat in the 2028 elections?
The question is answered simply based on our performance that we'll take into 2028. It is not really about who NPP brings.
I mean, assuming we are making it about that, which of the candidates can
holding that the economy is going to be good like this,
yes.
Any candidate that they will be the person.
But
it will be simpler with Dr. Baumia.
With Dr. Baumia, okay. Which of the candidates do you think it will be more difficult for the NDC to beat?
To be honest with you, I think that Ken Brian will be very difficult for us. You know why?
Right.
Because the cobwebs around them, unless we dig for them. I'm saying that the easy good, the low-hanging fruit is Dr. Bawumia because we have seen his performance.
Okay.
And we know who he is. And look, why is he struggling even in their internal primaries? Look at the way President Mahama, despite losing close to 1 million votes in 2016, like, you could tell that the party people still wanted him. And look at all the performance in the flag bearership race for President Mahama. 90-something%, 90-something%. What are we seeing? In fact, we are even hearing that, based on Global Info, we are even hearing that it's likely to be under 60% for Dr. Bawumia. And if that happens, it still demonstrates that a lot of party people still feel he's not the right person.
Okay. Doc, let me give you a minute. You made some notes.
I think that my brother MP for Sanergo, right? He's been following me because I didn't talk about bottom up, top down here.
Yes, I followed.
He followed me from another platform.
Yeah.
But I think that largely his submission has tended to agree with the arguments I advanced. That it is not so much about that presidential candidate alone, but what happens within the party structure. But the history of your own party should tell us and guide that your submissions seem to be contradicting the history. Look, the NDC has been through terrible times, and yet it was able to, bounce back based on a certain reorganization and restructuring. Whether it is bottom up or top down, it is not so much the approach, but how it is done and how inclusive it is. And how responsive it is. That for me is the most important thing. So, yes, what are our rules? What are our principles? What are the values around which we come together?
Okay.
And this is where I would like to say that, I thought my brother would decline this question about who would be the weakest, because it won't lie with him. The party, structure would have to decide that. It wouldn't lie with him alone. So I thought he would decline that question. But whoever it is, Akable, I am putting it on record here. Party organization, if it is properly done, can put somebody who is considered a dark horse to beat somebody who has all the indicators going with him in an election.
Okay.
It happened in our country's history. In 1979, a properly organized PMP put Dr. Lima, who was little known, to beat Victor Usu, who had been a very prominent political figure. Okay. And the comparisons, and I'm happy with what my brother said, the dynamics vary and change all the time. Don't forget, the constituents, the electorate, the people, there's an emerging voter psychology today. The people who are in the bracket of 18-25 years, the basis upon which they vote are different from the basis upon which I will vote.
Yeah.
So any electoral machine will do a thorough study of what the market is like, how the market is thinking, and even sponsor studies or research that will tend to influence the thinking of the market. Who doesn't do that? And even in the religious settings, those who go to evangelize, what is it for? There are some places that the Bible was never tolerated at some points. Today, you go there and people are selling the Bible there. Yeah. There are some places that people had never seen the Quran. There was a time the Quran, they said they would not even allow it to be translated into any language. Today, you have the Quran translated in other languages. At the end of the day, the point I'm making is that human beings, we should understand that we are malleable, changing, products, or changing, animate. We are animate. We are not inanimate. And so prediction is always done with some hedging. Even the scientific polls that they conduct, I maintain that the best opinion poll is the declared outcome of voter choices. Okay. So I think we can wish them well, and at the end of the day, what I'm portraying is that what is going on within the NPP today, the advice I'm offering, that they dwell on the synergies, the positives in each of them, to make a very strong force. If we take that into the national context, all I'm saying is that President Mahama may have been sponsored by the NDC, but it is not the NDC that is governing the country today. It is President Mahama setting up teams. But of course, he does that in alignment with his political party. Our constitutional arrangement does not give the party any power over the president once he is elected on their ticket. So it is for President Mahama to look beyond within the NDC and see that there are other brains outside the NDC that may help to contribute. And the sanity, the peace we are enjoying in our country is also a reflection of the choice of the people. Not necessarily so much because the government has done beyond expectations. No, sometimes people say that let's give him a chance. Let's allow some spaces. Thank you.
But,
I'll come to you you first, a minute.
You see, it is not for nothing. If MPP needs a consistency, it is this consistency they need. It is not for nothing that since '92, MPP strategically chose a Southerner Christian as the presidential candidate and a Northerner Muslim as a vice presidential candidate. Edu Boahen did it, Kufuor did it, Leonardo did it. It's because of the nature, once again, of our political markets. So it was strategic.
Okay.
So if there's any consistency the party needs, it is that consistency.
Go back to that consistency.
And let me make this point also, that what has been Dr. Bawumia's message? That if you vote for me, I will take Christians to Israel to go and pray.
Is that what he's saying?
Oh, that's what he's saying. It's all over the place.
But he said,
No, I'm saying. Another one. No, please allow me to say what I want to say. I'm saying that even in his message,
okay,
because it's captured, it's already on social media.
Yeah, but I mean, we need
another one.
It's only fair to make the point that that is not the only thing he's talking about. I mean, he's talking about a lot of other things as well. You agree with that?
So I'm telling you, his message is out there. Okay. Another one.
Okay.
He says when he comes, he's going to focus on job creation for his party members, not for Ghanaians. It's also out there.
Okay.
So even his messaging is a problem. And I'm saying that, of course, let me make this point. Let me make this point.
Like it.
No, let me make this point. I don't have any interest, as I said last week, I don't have any dog in this fight. I don't have any interest as to what happens to the party. I'm only saying that if really they want to show any significant, numbers in the next elections, then they need to be very careful as to who they choose to lead the party. And Dr. Bawumia being the system's candidate is also going to hurt the party, whether they like it or not. Okay. I mean, after tomorrow, I mean, people can argue, but the party can never be the same after tomorrow, given the fact that all those who control the party now, if you look at Hakim, Owusu Agyemang, Chairman Sebonso, Professor Michael Quay, Nanado, all of them are behind Dr. Bawumia. And it doesn't augur well for the party, because if care is not taken after the election, there will be another breakaway.
Okay,
it's so, like yours. you are supporting breakaways.
My issue is that for us to have a healthy contest in any political party, the election must be based on issues and not personal attacks. Exactly. And we must respect the rules of the party. Yeah. However, based at the recent indication during the peace pact that was signed by the NPP, in fact, for the first time, we had a peace pact signed in that manner within a political party, suggests that there are tensions in their internal elections. And the management of how these things go will determine the future of the NPP also. And you see that as we speak, tomorrow is the election. There are still doubts on the credibility of the electoral roll. In fact, I heard the chairman of the election management, Joe Oseosu, who said that they agreed with the aspirants not to include some about 58 TESCON members. But he has been instructed by the General Secretary to put them back onto the electoral roll at the blind side of the candidates. You cannot trigger such inconsistencies and opacity And at the end of the day, you expect the election outcomes are respected irrespective of the way it goes. I know that after tomorrow, there will be issues coming out from the elections. In 2023, people were urged to show their ballot paper when they vote to be they will show that they vote with this some indication. And that alone created very serious issues in the northern region. I remember Northeast, all the candidates had 0-0 when they had agents who are even... So my point is that these establishment candidates sort of, if you are interested in voting a flag bearer, go on with your behavior. But if you are interested in electing a future leader, you need to be pragmatic about it. And look beyond 2028. Let nobody lie to you that NPP, whoever they bring, will win 2028. Vote with two mindsets. That if you are not able to win 2028, that person will have the credibility to move forward for 2032. But in all indication, I can assure you, whether Dr. Bawumia wins or not, Brian or whoever, I know that the NPP hasn't put on their machinery properly. By doing this whole top-bottom approach, it's a wrong...
Just a minute. You see, I've been thinking about something. If NPP people are very smart, if they are smart in this election, Dr. Bawumia himself has told them why they should not vote for him.
Which is why?
He said in the last election that the presidency was going to come to the north. And that after presidency coming to the north, it will take a long time for it to come to the north again. I mean, which message is more apparent?
Yeah, so you are saying
this kind of message.
It is in the north currently.
So per his own argument, he told the party people, I don't know whether the party people are going to listen. He said it will take a long time for it to go back to the north. So if he says vote for me,
he was looking for votes.
No, I'm saying that if he says vote for me to win the next election,
okay, I'll come to you.
Then does it really mean it?
Okay.
No, make an argument.
I just want to ask a rhetoric question. With this, based on this obsession with Dr. Bawumia winning, you see, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was the running mate to President Akufo-Addo in 2016. So he was on the presidential ticket. And anyone voted for President Akufo-Addo in 2016 knew that in the event of President Akufo-Addo leaving by choice or by some accident of life, the president they were electing was Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. How can the same person become so abhorrent to the market that my brother is talking about?
The answer will be that
this argument doesn't hold water.
He led the economic management team and
this argument doesn't hold water.
You are not. He's saying.
No.
The man is saying that. The man is saying that somebody is like pork being sold to a Muslim market, and I'm saying that product that you are juxtaposing to, or you are analogizing to be that pork in a Muslim market, was on the ticket. It's not as if he hasn't been on the presidential ticket.
Okay.
From 2007.
No. In 2016 when it won.
Okay. I get your point.
Yes.
The ballot was the presidential ballot.
You see,
it wasn't vice presidential ballot. Let's get that one.
I have sat here, I have sat here, and being fair to the facts, I'm saying that based on the data, and Akabli put it out there, what the newspapers are projecting and what the polls are saying, agreeing that it was likely that Dr. Bawumia will win the day. But I went further to say that it is not so much who wins as how the party organizes itself to position the flag that the bearer they are electing tomorrow will bear going forward.
Okay.
Now, if you want to be obsessed with one particular candidate,
it's not obsession,
and make it look like that candidate.
No, listen, stop that.
So,
you said you were discussing
don't worry. So let's now move.
I'm coming. The delegates that the language of their candidates is also very important.
Yeah.
We're not done at all. We're not done at all. Just calm down. Let's talk about Kennedy Ejapon now.
It's being mischievous.
Let's talk about Kennedy Ejapon now. Kennedy Ohene Ejapon is a name that has come up very, very strongly. And let me share something with you. You know, the final primary results before the 2024 elections, Dr. Bawumia won with 61.47%. Kennedy Ohene Ejapon, very first attempt, he got 37.41%. And there are those who are looking at this and saying that this time around he enjoys more support. I mean, we've heard from individuals who worked closely with Dr. Bawumia in the management of the economy. So we've heard from someone like Abner Osei-Asare, who was a Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, started as Deputy Minister. We've also heard from Kweku Kwarteng, was in Parliament, on Parliament Finance Committee, eventually became Deputy Finance Minister. Dr. Stephen Amoah was also a Minister of State at the Ministry of Finance, Deputy Minister at the Ministry of Finance, also over there. Then Dr. Makisibe Yeboah, Chairman of Parliament's Finance Committee. And the question on people's minds is that these are people who, because of the Bawumia's role as the chair of the economic management team, they would have interacted a lot with him. In fact, I left out Dr. Mpabini as well, also Deputy Finance Minister. They are all moving towards Kennedy Ohene Ejapon. Now Kennedy Ejapon addressed the nation yesterday, through social media. This is what he had to say in his last message to the delegates of the New Patriotic Party on why he believes they should elect him as flag bearer.
Afford revenge politics. Our true task is not defeating one another. Our true task is rebuilding trust in the Ghanaian people. Dear delegates, I'm appealing to you to vote for me on Saturday. What I want to remind you is we are not just going to elect a flag bearer, but a winnable candidate who can give us a victory in 2028. And there's no other candidate than Kennedy Ejapon. So victory will be ours in 2028 if you decide on Kennedy Ejapon on Saturday. A candidate that is trusted, inspires hope, accepted, and capable of winning the NPP power in 2028. And I Ken Ohene Ejapon, number one, on the ballot remains.
What does Kennedy Ohene Ejapon there? And at the beginning I said that a number of prophets have actually called the election in his favor. So I said prophecy versus the polls. Ebo, let me start with you. Let me start with you on this. Let's talk about Kennedy Ejapon. A colleague of mine says that Kennedy Ejapon will shock Dr. Bawumia tomorrow. He's either going to win or push it into a second round. Is that possible?
I see that possibility, but given how this election has been skewed already, has been rigged already, it will be difficult for him to be able to win.
What do you mean by rigged already? They are now going to vote.
No. I thought said something which was quite significant. The same people who voted, if you're a political party, you just lost an election, and you really want to reorganize your party. This is not what you do.
The party has gone beyond that.
No. I'm telling you why it's been rigged.
What is their justification?
Those who took this, all those who took that decision.
Want a uniting point.
No. All those who took that decision are behind Bawumia. Hakuna Uso Ajiman, Chairman Sabonso, Professor Makoko. All of them are Bawumia supporters. And I'm saying that they know that they knew that if they were to go back to start from the polling station up, it will be difficult for their candidates.
But the same delegates, Kennedy Ejapon performed very well in his very first.
But he didn't win. He lost.
But he
lost.
Let
me make the point that you see, from where I sit, what is happening in NPP now is that, as I said, it's a kind of a battle over who controls the party, and I see Ken. It's like they have outsiders versus insiders. If you've been following, they say they have outsiders versus insiders. And so Ken and his team are the insiders, and Bawumia and his people are the outsiders. And so if you look at what is happening, Ken is a kind of unconventional politician. he can do things that you don't expect, and he's someone who can, if you like, surprise you at any point in time in politics. He can be out there, he can be doing certain things that can easily, get attention of people. And so he's a kind of politician maybe the NPP would have to see if they can consider. But I don't see him winning, not because he's not worked or he doesn't have what it takes to lead the party, but because, as I said, the system had been rigged already. I'm just hoping that tomorrow they're going to have a very peaceful election so that there won't be any breakaway. But I see the possibility of breakaway also emerging tomorrow because of what has been done already. Okay.
Doc, Kennedy Ohine Japan, viable candidate, capable of winning. He says he's the winnable candidate if the voters make him their choice tomorrow.
So you see, Dr. Baumia's part, I refrain from dwelling on the candidate, and I want to be consistent. It is not so much who is elected. Look, each of the 5 of them has positives that their party would need. And it depends on how they are able to manage them as assets. You know, when we take the line to want to look at the negatives of people, nobody in this country will qualify for any position. No. 3 of us sitting here on this set with you, Akable, if we are to submit ourselves to reviews, there are mistakes we made here. And yet, I'm sure this program is going on and people are sending you feedback that they are enjoying it. It is because we are trying to complement. And I think that even though I disagreed with my brother, I did not rebut what he was saying. I sought to use some arguments he had made to show how I saw things differently. And that's what makes us beautiful. Kennedy is also one of the materials out there that has his positives and has his negatives. At the end of the day, the same principle is that it is so much the flag that they want to elect a bearer to bear than so much the bearer, even though the bearer is also important. But you see, for the fact that their party's screening body or vetting committee allowed all of them to be at this stage means that within their qualification criteria as a political party, they fit the bill. Are you getting it? Who am I to say otherwise? What I am saying in addition to what they have done is that whoever they elect, they will have to consider the aftermath of 31st January, which is tomorrow, how they can negotiate and mobilize all the forces that are available to them. Which of them, when elected tomorrow, can say that they don't need any of them? Who? You know, and we must learn from history. What I'm saying is that at the end of the day, if you look at the record of Usain Bolt, as I said, his best run was when he ran with others. And if we will go into national conversations with that mindset, where the fact that I disagree with my brother MP for Sanergo, I will not conclude that it means I should hate him. He's my enemy. Or I disagree with... Say again?
I say you know the reality in politics.
But that's what I'm saying, that the reality in politics, which some people have allowed to mean that opposition to one another means enmity, must end. I don't do that kind of politics.
Yeah, but you don't do it. But it exists in politics.
It exists. We should discourage it.
And even the danger is when they don't speak, but it's in their heart.
And I'm saying we should discourage that. Look, we sit here, Christians, Muslims, traditional worshippers. The God we claim we worship expects of us, invites us to be there for one another. And our national constitution, what's the preamble? In the name of Almighty God, we, the people. So it is a cross relation. So what I'm saying is that, please, I'm saying, at the end of the day, we will need to focus so much on our strengths than our negatives, because none of us is without a
But it's
negative.
important to bring out
And
the
so-
negatives. Kabila, don't discount the negatives. Because if somebody is going to lead and you're only going to dwell on the person's positives without the negatives, then it's going to be a big mistake.
Okay, but let him, Doc, wrap up for me, please.
Bro, continue.
Doc, sorry, wrap up for me.
My point is very simple. At the end of the day, we have a nation to run. And I'm discussing this NPP internal affair with national lenses. That the attitude that I'm expecting them to manifest or exhibit is what I am praying that we will convey or carry into the national. The fact that you broke away from your party and have formed a new party is the reason why you should pray against breakaways. Because tomorrow, if somebody breaks away from your party,
let me make this correction. I won't let it pass. Let me make this correction. Let me make this correction.
I'm coming. I asked that. No, I asked that. Let him land.
Okay.
Then I'll give you a minute to respond.
We should pray for positives.
Okay.
You know, and I think that is what we are wishing them well. You cannot wish me well and at the same time pray that I go and break my leg. Okay. It's contradictory.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Able, a minute.
Yeah, let me set this on record. I didn't break away from NPP. I left NPP in 2010. I came back into politics 2020 not to join NPP, but to support Mr. Alan Chamantin. That's what I did. Okay. So I left NPP in 2010. Let that be on record. That's so fine. I'm not.
So you are not part of the Alan Chamantin breakaway group.
So
that's fine.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
But you see, this is the picture. This is the picture I want. I mean, let me paint this picture for NPP delegates this morning. You find yourself in a monkey sanctuary. You have apple and banana in your pockets. Two voices are speaking to you. One says, use the apple to convince. Try as much as possible to convince the monkeys that you're a good marketer. Another voice says, monkeys like banana. Give them banana and you get them. The choice is yours.
All right. So, coming back to this concept of the delegates voting at the base level, I still insist that the current arrangement and the album that they are using for tomorrow's election has already decided the winner of the election long before the candidates even started. This is because you cannot put something on nothing.
Yeah.
Because it is the foundation of the party that holds the echelon, the top echelons of the political party. If you remember, yesterday, the General Secretary of the NDC came up with a reorganization plan. This is what has worked for all political parties in the country. That you reorganize the party at the base level, because there may be emerging issues within the rank and file in the constituencies that needs the urgent attention and reform. Look, if NPP had learned, I still feel like they haven't learned why they lost the election. Because if indeed they learned, they will know that it is not every time that you start campaigning. Immediately they lost. 6 months after they lost, they had already started campaigning for flag bearership. That is not why political parties are formed. You are formed to provide governance. Now a government has won, and all you think about is, irrespective of the performance of the government, you are interested in running your own elections. Let's get time to reflect and heal. Kabila, the internal wrangling within the NPP is not new. It happens to all political parties. But the mechanisms to resolve those challenges still is left unattended to. There are triggers. So the peace pact to accept the results after the election is not a good avenue to making redress of grievances. Okay. People have raised fundamental issues on the conduct of national executive and regional executive. That are the things that you should do. Even if you elect a flag bearer for 10 years before election, and these type of underlying factors still persist, you cannot win. And Kennedy Japan.
Yes, just hold on for me, because I want you to deal with Kennedy Japan. I want us to take a listen to Kennedy Japan raise a concern about the album, which you had mentioned, raising concerns about that. Let's take a listen to Kennedy Japan on this issue, then I'll come back and let you continue your submission.
I'm aware that some of you delegates have been told that if you vote for me, you will be removed from the delegates album or punished afterwards. I bet you it can never happen. Trust me and believe me that all of you will be protected the D-Day. The delegate album is not a weapon. It is a constitutional record of party service. It must never be used to intimidate loyal members of this party. I do not believe in fear. I do not believe in revenge politics. I will not tolerate any attempt to shrink the party by threatening its grassroots. Be rest assured of this. The NPP was built on courage. NPP was built on internal democracy. So I say to you, stand firm. Canada, Japan, I stand for industrialization. It's industry, industry, industry. Employment, employment, employment. Jobs, jobs, jobs. What we need in this country is employment for the youth of this country. So please, give me opportunity to serve you, and I will not disappoint you. Let me assure you of something else. Every delegate will be safe. Every delegate will be protected before, during, and
So that's Kennedy Ohene Japan. They're making a point about threats that some delegates, he said, have received, that their names will be taken off the album if they vote for him subsequently. I mean, that's those allegations that he's put out there. A lot of you are sending your messages, particularly on Facebook. Interesting commentary and discussions there. We've seen all of your comments as well. We enjoy you watching us always and sending your feedback always. So you're making a point.
So
you're moving to Kennedy Japan.
So you see that I spoke about the electoral register. A day to the election, there are still concerns on the album. People are still not sure, because the album that they give to the presidential candidates and what has been agreed as at last NEC meeting that they had included additional 58 names before even reaching out to the candidates. When candidates are given provisional register that they will use for the election, a day or two to the election, you still have the opportunity to add additional names. This raises concern and the entire credibility of the polls. I know that the underlying, what drives political party unity is not because of the personalities involved. It's because of the underlying issues that you leave unattended to. There are concerns on electoral rules. What is the party doing about it? There are concerns on intimidation of party supporters who are declaring support for other candidates outside the establishment candidates. What is the party's response? There are issues that on election day, there are threats of macho men and whatever to be deployed at the polling station. What is the party's concern? Now, if all these things happens and you leave it unattended to, you dare not ask for unity after the election. And I can tell you on authority that no candidate can campaign in this country for 3 years going. So it is not the case that they are in a hurry to elect a flag bearer because he will need more time. Dr. Baumea doesn't need more time to transfer this country. There are issues that they need to deal with. That will now usher in what Dr. Kabila said, that it is not about the person that you choose, because if you have a strong political party machinery, you are somebody who can easily win. And let me add this information. Do you know that when the flag bearership is now decided tomorrow, then the base of the party will now subject themselves to elections?
Can you imagine?
So it means that the new branch executive who might have won, who didn't participate in the flag bearership race, might have divergent views, and it will create bad blood within the polling stations. So that is why every political party, the reorganization starts with the branches, because that is where
polling station.
That is where emerging issues happen post-elections. You will never hear it now. So whether Ohene, Ajapong, Brian Champon, and all those things are all victims of a rigged and biased system. So it is not what he is saying now, that people would manipulate, threat and all those things. The election had long been won. Yeah. And that's my advice. So they should even be better managed in terms of how they spend their resources. Kennedy Japan, very distinguished businessman, no doubt about that. But the presidency also comes with some level of proper temperament, control, and emotional intelligence. Arrogance should not be substituted for courage. So sometimes the manner in which we communicate defines our personality. In my language, there's a saying that you pass through somebody's tongue to know what is in their mind. So what you voice out is a tentative representation of what you think and what is in your heart. You can have money, but money also have its limitations when it comes to politics. What drives politicians successful is not necessarily money. It also has to do with your habit, conduct, and character. So, what is going to affect Canada Japan, or what affected him in 2023, is because of the past utterances he had made and is hunting up to now. If it is a candidate who has been fighting for the grassroots directly, it will be Canada Japan. But that is not enough to demonstrate that he will be a good president.
Okay.
I'm one of the people that believe that he will not be a good president. I'm one of them. But I'm saying that they are victims. So they will lick their wounds after tomorrow. But what happens post tomorrow, it is left to them. But I am very positive. I spoke with some of the candidate people. I was in Radio Tamale a few days ago. And the sentiments coming out from their party suggest that people have taken entrenched positions.
Okay.
And all is because of the apparent bias towards candidates. And that's why I want to salute the NDC leadership. In 2016, when President Mahama lost, Thank You Tour was initiated and done by the president. And then the party also led by the General Secretary and the National Chairman, then Potofi, and then Asai Nuketa, they went also on a thank you tour as a party. The reason is because post-elections, the party should be seen as a neutral arbiter that can bring all factions together. But what do we see here? MPs, when you are in opposition, the most active organ of the party is your parliamentary group. Nothing is more active because you cannot start organizing election. You can't be doing rallies. It is not time. The one that do the politics for you is your parliamentary group. And what are we seeing in parliament? Even composition of parliament from the NPP is based on who you support. So you cannot create this type of systems and you expect post-election unity.
Okay.
There are humans with blood flowing. Canada Japan has invested a lot of money. There's blood flowing in his veins. So if he sees some level of rigged systems, if he sees some level of manipulations and threats, you don't blame him when he reacts. Okay. Because when you run an election, you all know how elections in this country are. Okay. How much more a flag bearership election. So the election management group of their party must ensure that they must put in systems, at least it's not late, today, so that tomorrow when people go to the polls and elect a leader, it is not so much about the system that favors the person, but the will of the people. Okay. Lastly, sharing of money is happening in both political parties. I want to draw the attention of the OSP to monitor it closely tomorrow, because we saw it happen in 2023. Though people were arrested, but
nothing was done about it.
Nothing was done. They were released subsequently. Maybe this is a good time to test that law again, such that the election is not influenced primarily because of the one who pays most, but the election is conducted in an atmosphere of peace, serenity, and respect for their own party rules. So I wish them once again, I wish them all the best. I know that the opinion poll favors one candidate, and they must be able to build bridges post-elections. They must be able to do that. Because without unity, as for political party, it will be difficult to run.
Doc, we are wrapping up. I saw you make some notes.
You know, because I am privileged here to have been in charge of a party from the national level, I want to place on record that this bottom up or top down, all the parties, including yours, have been confronted with, from time to time, under certain situations, to vary arrangements. Look, and this is because the party never exists in a vacuum. So that the argument of not being able to put something on nothing, quoting Lord Denning, it doesn't apply. The party is always existent. The fact that somebody has...
Leadership.
Yes, no, even leadership. Even if somebody has 2 days to expire their term, like the president-elect, until January 6th, when the outgoing president expires and the president-elect is sworn in, the president who is reigning has power.
No, but you know that people have raised issues.
Yes,
on those
yes,
and
of course.
Those are the issues
And I'm coming. I'm just making the point that, you see, if you don't take care, you move into a situation where you create a limitation on power, such that people with power will be helpless and powerless, and impunity will arrive. 2, we politicians, let's be careful names we give to politicians other than ourselves. Are we in fact sitting here and alleging rigging of an election that is yet to take place?
Yeah.
It is not fair.
It is.
You see,
It's been rigged. You're not saying it's going to be rigged.
please.
But I'll come to you as well, then we wrap up. Yeah.
This is a position I've held on national elections when political parties accuse EC of rigging. At least, having followed elections, at least from the Electoral Commission standpoint, and having been part of IPAC over the years, and particularly from 2012, when we went biometric, I am telling you that it is not possible to rig elections and go undetected.
No, it's possible.
I said, listen,
It's possible.
to rig elections and go undetected, it is not.
Always. It happens always.
Akable, now, if you say that somebody has rigged elections, you know that is criminal
Yes.
under our laws.
Yes.
Good. If the police are watching
Yes.
and they are inviting you today
Yes.
to provide them with evidence,
Yes.
how those elections have been rigged.
For tomorrow's own.
Yes.
Yes, I can provide it. Why?
Okay, good.
What's the difficulty?
I remember somebody
Systems
went
have been
out-
put in place for somebody to what do you
That's
call
rigging.
it?
It's rigging.
That's fine.
But we said the
It's
election
rigging.
has long been rigged
Okay,
before even the date
Today,
arrives.
my point, look, you
No,
see,
10 seconds.
yeah, you may not be on the seat. You may not be the party of which about whom we are talking about today. Be careful when your time comes.
Why not?
Because what you are saying-
We've just came from
Okay, so-
opposition.
Ebo, wrap up, final word, Ebo.
Yeah, so
Oh.
let me
I'll give you a minute as
let
well,
me
so I'll give you
let
a
me say
minute,
that
yes. Ebo.
it is never true that our elections in Ghana, particularly our presidential election, is not so much about who leads a political party.
It is.
In fact, the most important point, the most important factor is who leads your political party before any other thing comes in. That is why it is always important to begin the reorganization from the bottom. So by the time you finish reorganizing the party, then you'll be thinking about who then leads the party. So to do it the other way round, that you are not going to select who leads the party before you go to the grassroots. What is going to happen is that who becomes the leader will influence the elections from the polling station to constituency to region to national. That is where they can have so much problem, because if that happens, it's going to further divide the party.
Of course.
Yeah. So that is the issue. Okay. That is the issue they will have to deal with.
Okay.
My point is that elections in this country, in fact, even at competent court of jurisdiction, when people take matters of elections to them, has ruled on some of them favorable against for petitioners. That demonstrates that this election was done outside the law. There are examples of that, of election petitions at the constitutional levels, where the court ruled that the method and the law that governs the election was not properly followed.
But that's a different.
No, I'm coming. I'm making a point. I'm saying
go
that
ahead.
it is always possible in this country for people to rig elections. It is possible.
Oh yeah, of course, of course.
Maybe
You're saying, affirming my point.
No, it's not.
I said you cannot rig and go undetected.
What are those that people didn't see?
People chose not to see, or people didn't see.
The party you were saying, you're representing across the country. You don't know what happens at police station. I can tell you this for a fact.
And I'm saying-
Don't use the party
I'm saying
you used to.
that- I'm saying
No,
that-
wait.
I'm saying that-
I beg you. Don't use your political party that you've used at national level. You don't know what happens in most of the constituencies and police stations.
Okay.
So it is not because you have held
I'm
national
saying that
position.
it doesn't exist in a
It exists
vacuum.
because you don't know what
The
happens
party
there.
exists in a vacuum.
Now, finally,
The party exists in a vacuum.
wait. Leadership is what we are talking about. Currently, the party is led by the national chairman of the party.
Okay.
So it is not like a vacuum. I'm saying that to elect a flag bearer, that will now trickle down. Because do you know that if Baumia wins tomorrow, at the polling station level, constituency level, regional level, all those who were pro other candidates except Baumia will be removed.
Yeah.
Is that what you are trying to say? Now they are communicating. No, I'm saying that they are communicating strongly that if you don't support Baumia and he wins, you will be removed.
Yeah.
What they are trying to say is that right from the bottom up to the national level, all those who are supporting Ken, Brian Champong, Komna Japan, and Duchum will be removed from the party. So how can you put systems like this and expect to win election?
Okay.
All right. And now they are introducing tribal politics. Dr. Baumia is complaining that they are calling him a stranger. They are calling him that not because he lost because he's a Muslim. Who introduced that topic?
It's him.
I was privileged to be at an event in Tamale when this man came and said, this is the first time a Muslim will be president. I was also there in one meeting again, Northern MPs, where he communicated strongly that he's a descendant of Nagbewa. We should vote for him because he's from Nagbewa clan.
Okay.
When you put these systems like that, when you make these utterances, and today, people are saying that they didn't vote for you because you are a Muslim or you are from the north, and you are now crying foul.
Okay.
When you introduce that type of regionalism, you introduce that type of tribalism and religious bigotry, we warn you that don't be desperate for power. And Dr. Baumia, he wanted to say anything for power. Okay. That is what is now coming out to say that, if you vote a northerner this time, there are two northerners. Do you want a northerner for 4 years or you want a northerner for 8 years? If you choose Mahama for 4 years, the presidents who will leave northern region, it won't come anytime soon. So if you are somebody on principle, you are somebody with good conscience, you make this statement. It doesn't like somebody force you to make that.
You don't even have to contest.
So what's the basis for even the
he doesn't even have to contest
you are going to?
That's what I'm saying. He's
so a man is judged by the words that comes out from the man.
They're doing same here.
The man said, don't vote for me. But the people have not seen it.
You see,
the man said, don't vote for me. But unfortunately, the people have not seen it.
And I agree with you. But you are doing some, you are putting yourself in that same situation. About rigging elections.
NPP delegates. NPP delegates. Baumia has told you, don't vote for me. If you vote for him, it will be your own cup of tea.
So guys, said you were obsessed with Baumia. You see, you have manifested it.
So guys, there's a lot more to talk about on this particular election tomorrow. This is just a precursor in terms of the discussion. Tomorrow we'll be covering the election from start to finish. We'll bring you very interesting analysis. We'll look at the strengths of all the candidates and who is likely to emerge victorious. Let's put back the image that has all 5 candidates once again. We focused on 2 of them because...
For 5. Yeah, for all 5.
Yes, all 5 of them. Let's put all 5.
If they want the future
again, we focused on the 2 of them because those 2 have been tagged as the front runners, but the others are also there. There's Dr. Yao Osei Educhu, former minister for education. There's Kwabna Ejay Japoni, the engineer, former general secretary of the New Patriotic Party. This is his 3rd attempt contesting as flag bearer. Then there's Dr. Brian Echampong, a man who has been talking about how he's financed the party so well and he wants to lead the New Patriotic Party as well. And so 3 doctors, 1 engineer, and a businessman, or we'll be slugging it out tomorrow. We'll see how all of this plays out there. My guests this morning have been Ataisa, MP for Sanerugu. He joined us in the studio. Ebo Bakman is Deputy Communications Director for the United Party, joined us in the studio. Dr. James Kwabna Bomfair Jr., Kabila, like we all call him, is a lecturer, UPSA. He also joined us in the studio. 2026